prior to 2020, there were over 70 buffets in the Las Vegas area, and 18 of those were on the Las Vegas Strip. Well, today on the Strip, there are only 8 buffets left, and in today's video, we are going to take a look at all of them and rank them for you. So let's see how they stack up and see which gets the top spot. Let's start with the buffet that probably shouldn't even be open still, but it is. The Circus Circus has a buffet. Now, there is no information posted on their website. There's really no information at the buffet itself. But from everything I see online, it is open for brunch on Saturdays and Sundays, and it's open for dinner Friday through Sunday, and it's $24.95 per person, regardless if you're a kid or if you're an adult, and for brunch and for dinner, it's all the same price. So that's one good thing. It is pretty cheap compared to other buffets in Las Vegas, but that's about where it ends. There's really no redeeming qualities about this buffet. The food reminds me of a buffet that you would get at a hotel. You know, those free breakfasts with the kind of fake waffles. It's kind of what you're gonna get here. The quality of the food is pretty lacking. There's not much selection at all. And really, I just feel like they take everything out of a package and just kind of throw it out there. I think the biggest red flag about this place was when we went to go pay at the cashier. She asked us if we wanted to look at the buffet before we actually paid. So the one really positive thing I can say about this buffet is that the employees who work here were really nice. It wasn't busy at all when we visited, and we just had a great time chatting it up with some of the employees there. Overall though, I'd just stay away from the Circus Circus buffet. Next up is Luxor Las Vegas. Now, they have kept the theme of the property within this buffet. It really feels like you are in an ancient pyramid with all the decor. This buffet is open from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Wednesdays and Thursdays it's going to cost $31.99 for adults and $17.99 for kids. And the weekends, Friday through Sunday, it's $37.99 for adults and $18.99 for kids. Now, they are closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. If you're a local or in the military, you can ask for a discount. They do have a fresh omelet station, and I'd really recommend that you take advantage of that because it's probably the best part of the buffet. They didn't really have a huge selection. Like, this is the carving station. There's really not much to choose from. But for me, it wasn't even about the lack of selection. It was just the food itself. There were a lot of items that just didn't have a lot of flavor at all. Some of the items had been sitting out for a while and were just sort of stale. There were a couple of things that were just downright gross. I have eaten at a lot of buffets and I've never spit out food, but this was the first time that I actually spit something out because it was too gross. In 2024, they started offering a crab boil special. So you could pay $23.99 for half a pound or $41.99 for a full pound. But I'm not sure if they're still offering it anymore because we cannot see anything about this on the Luxor's website. So they may have taken it away already. It may not have been popular enough to charge the extra money. So as you can tell, I'm not a big fan of the Luxor buffet. But the MyVegas app does have a buy one, get one offer. So if you have the MyVegas app, you could do that. And that way it's only $16 a person. So it's only offered during the week, Wednesdays and Thursdays. But it might be worthwhile if you are staying at Luxor to go ahead and just do the BOGO. Now we have the MGM Grand Buffet. This buffet's open from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Thursday, you'll pay $31.99. Friday, you'll pay $37.99. And on Saturdays and Sundays, they have a mimosa brunch that is $42.99. So it includes all you can drink mimosas. But you can't opt out of the mimosa payment. If you're not a drinker, you're still going to pay $42.99. They do have one of these fancy Coke machines, and that gives you a ton of options, so I do like that. But the drinks here are self-service, as are the mimosas. So if you want a mimosa, you do have to go up to the bar to get your mimosa. The food selection here is just okay. Similar to the Luxor, they don't have a really good carving station, and the other items that are offered here is just pretty limited. Now, I think that they have gone downhill a little bit over the last several years because I remember this buffet being a little bit better than it was the last time that we visited. I feel like the food was kind of scattered around and didn't make a lot of sense. Like, they didn't have an Italian section or an Asian section. Things were kind of unorganized. I was pleasantly surprised to find that they did have a seafood area, but it wasn't a great selection and it didn't look all that appetizing. The one biggest disappointment about the MGM Grand Buffet was the lack of a true dessert area. Really, this is all they had for dessert, just some pastries and muffins. The food is not bad here, it just lacks selection, but if you have one of the buy one get ones from myVegas, I think it's worth it. I feel like I've been complaining about all these buffets, but things are starting to look up as we move on to the Excalibur Buffet. Excalibur sometimes gets a bad rap for its hotel, but being a fellow MGM property with Luxor and MGM, this buffet beats them both in my opinion. Excalibur Buffet is open from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday through Thursday, you're going to pay $31.99 for adults, $17.99 for kids. On the weekends, you're going to pay on Friday $37.99 and $18.99 for kids. And just like MGM Grand, they have the mimosa brunch on Saturday and Sunday, and it's $42.99. The one thing I think they did a good job with the buffet here at Excalibur is that they did section off everything, so your different types of cuisine are served in their respective area, making it much easier to go ahead and get your food, the plates that you really want to get. In addition to having an omelet station, they have a crepe station, so you can get crepes made to order, either savory or sweet. Overall, the selection at Excalibur was pretty extensive. Now, this is not a place that you're going to come and find crab legs or things that are going to be a luxury item. This is still a budget buffet. Some of their food actually surprised me, like the pozole was very good. It tasted authentic. They had some good dishes here, but don't get me wrong, not everything was going to be a hit. If you're finding this video useful, hit that thumbs up button. And if you want more Las Vegas and other travel videos, consider subscribing to the channel. Wicked Spoon is open from brunch. They're open from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. every day. During the week, you'll expect to pay $47, and on the weekend, it's $54, and children are half off. MGM Properties took ownership of Cosmopolitan in 2024, and that meant Wicked Spoon is under new hands and part of the MGM Resorts. So we went back to see if we had noticed any changes in the quality of food or the type of food offerings at Wicked Spoon. I did take note to see if they had some of the specialty things that I liked, like the Angry Mac and Cheese, and they still had it. It was still delicious. And they have a lot of food offerings that some of the lower end buffets just don't have, like a ramen station, some of the bao buns. They don't have a very large selection of seafood. They did have sushi, but I don't know why I keep trying sushi at buffets because it's always terrible. They did have a good carving station here, and the meat quality was really good. Everything had very good flavor and was tender. Now, the one thing I really enjoy about Wicked Spoon is that a lot of the food items are just put onto these small plates, so you can just grab the plates or the little containers and go. And so you're not necessarily touching utensils at every station that you go to. What did make Wicked Spoon really great before was that at Cosmopolitan, if you had the Sterling level card or above, which wasn't very hard to get, you could get a buy one get one to this buffet every month. But that is now over with the MGM takeover, and unfortunately they do not offer that on the myVegas app. They have a pretty good dessert selection with a whole gelato station. They have a lot of different pastries. One of the things I really enjoyed here was a chocolate melting cake. They kept it under these hot lamps, and it was just ooey gooey in the inside. It was so chocolatey and delicious. We are up to the Bellagio Buffet. And honestly, the Bellagio Buffet and the Wicked Spoon could have swapped places, and the only reason that I gave the edge to Bellagio is because on the weekends they are open for dinner. So Monday through Friday, they are open for brunch from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then on Saturdays and Sundays, brunch is from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. And brunch is $54.99. But on the weekends, they stay open from 1 p.m. till 8 p.m. for their seafood dinner, and that seafood dinner is $74.99. A little trick here is that you could come at about 12:30, pay the brunch price, and then just stay to eat seafood. They're not checking your receipt or anything like that. So that is an option, but you can pay the $74.99 and have that seafood dinner. They're going to have a lot more options for you as far as seafood is concerned than any of the other buffets that we have shown thus far. They do have a large, yet not overwhelmingly large, amount of food options for you to choose from. So I think this is sort of a medium-sized buffet, but I will say that all of the food was good. There was nothing here that I ate that I did not like. They had some good options at the carving station, like some short ribs, prime rib. They had these giant beef ribs in this rub. It was really good. I feel like they did a good job on the carving station. Now, one thing that they have here at Bellagio Buffet is that there is a pizza oven. So I did try a couple slices of pizza, and I would say that the barbecue chicken one was a good one to try. I don't normally like pizza at buffets. We already talked about how the seafood selection was great, but they also had a really good Asian food section, and it was tasty food. They also had somebody that was making fresh tacos. I just get the pastor tacos and I'd leave the other two behind, but make sure you get the fresh salsa because it tastes homemade. You're also going to find an omelet station, but in addition to that, if you're looking for something a little sweeter, they had somebody making fresh crepes. Now, of course, dessert is going to be very important at the buffet, and they had a really good selection of desserts here. Okay, now let the controversy begin because I am ranking the Wynn Buffet as number 2. In reality, could it go number 1? Absolutely, but I think it's just going to be a matter of preference for you. Now, first with the details, the Wynn Buffet is open for brunch from 8 o'clock a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. for $59.99, and then they have their daily seafood gourmet dinner, and that is from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m., and that's $74.99 per person. Let's get into the details on this buffet. If you are a seafood lover, this is going to be the number 1 buffet on the Las Vegas Strip for you, hands down. You have such a wide variety of seafood options. There's different varieties of crab legs, there's shrimp, there's even caviar for you. The sushi is pretty decent here as well. And this crab boil, oh my gosh, the flavors in this crab boil are just so good. It's excellent. But the question is if you are not a seafood lover or you are coming with somebody who is not a seafood lover, is that $74.99 going to be worth it for you? They had some really good meats available at the carving station. They had a garlic infused prime rib. They also had some filet mignon, which I just don't see at buffets ever. They had this banana barbecue chicken, which was like slow cooked and it was really good. But at the same time, they had these barbecue pork sliders that looked like they had been sitting there for way too long, and they tasted that way as well. So not really great. But one thing that I will say kind of surprised me here at the buffet is that they had great pizza. So I've been to a lot of buffets and I've had a lot of pizzas, and every time I go, I'm super disappointed and I've never found a good pizza at a buffet. But here, the pizzas were actually really delicious. I don't know what they do differently than the other buffets, but they do it right. They had some Mexican items that looked promising. They had enchiladas, tamales, but to be honest with you, I wasn't all that impressed with anything. There wasn't anything there that I said, oh my God, they did such a good job with the Mexican food here. They had an Asian section, and some of the items were really good here, like the prawns, but again, that's seafood. The ramen was pretty good. I won't say it's the best, but it was pretty decent, and you could make your own ramen, put all the different toppings that you want. But again, back to the seafood, because this is really where it's at. The different variety of sushi that they had here, that was actually pretty good. And then they even had sashimi. Now, the dessert section really takes the cake, though. I love this wheel o gelato. They had a lot of variety of dessert options for you to choose from, and all the ones that we tried were really good. So now we made it to our top buffet, which happens to be the most expensive of the buffets. So their crab dinner is $84.99 a person. That's daily from 3 to 10. Now they have a crab brunch on the weekends. That is also $84.99. And they have a regular brunch on Mondays and Thursdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. That's $64.99. They're not open for brunch on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. Getting into the food here, as you can see, they also have a lot of variety of seafood, but I'd still give the edge on the seafood to a win. It just was a little bit better there. Now, this carving station was probably the biggest carving station that I've seen at a buffet. They had such a variety of different meat options, anything from turkey to different sausages to prime rib. It was just so extensive. I think what won me over with the Bacchanal buffet is that all of the different dishes that they had in the sections, so let's say the Mexican food section or the Asian food section, was really good. For example, in the Mexican section, they had somebody making fresh quesabirria tacos, and they were delicious. But even some of the more simple things like the beans and rice, they did a good job with that as well. I feel like the variety of the food options is just more vast than any of the other buffets that we have reviewed. They just have so much to offer. And to top it off, if everything's really good, I don't know how you can beat that. I'm also a sucker for good chilaquiles, and they did have some good chilaquiles here, but they just had such a wide variety, and everything that we tried actually tasted good, which I think is kind of surprising for a buffet. Usually you find a lot of things that you don't like. I think the only thing I did not like here was the pizza, but I really don't care if the pizza is good at a buffet because I really want to try everything else as well. The food was really good here, but also I liked the way that they had things set up. The presentation in a lot of cases was really nice. I liked the way that they had things set up here. The one thing I will say about the Bacchanal buffet is that it is really busy, so unless you are a Diamond Caesars member, you're going to want to make a reservation or get on the waiting list because you're not going to want to stand in line for as long as it might take to get you through there. Like most buffets, they do have a time limit here, but I feel like we spent a lot of time eating here and they never did kick us out. I don't know if it was just a little slower than usual, but they let us go ahead and stay there, probably overstayed our welcome. But there was so much to try. This buffet, the selection is just huge. If you want to try everything, it's nearly impossible for you to do that. Not be a high-end buffet unless you had this whole gelato station, but really the desserts here were incredible. They had so many offerings and just really good desserts to choose from. So, do you agree with our buffet rankings? Let's know in the comments what you think. Now, if you're looking for more information on Las Vegas, be sure to check out our other videos, including this one here. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next time.